classrooms closed.
Do they actually really want to get a deal and get students back in classrooms, or are they just looking to bust a union?
Parents make other plans as teachers go on strike. Long lineups in some locations as Calgarians turn out for the advanced vote. And remembering John Candy.
There's a bunch of things like that that happened during the research process where I was like completely surprised.
The new book on the beloved Canadian actor.
CTV Calgary, local breaking news with Ian White.
Good afternoon. The province has issued a lockout notice to Alberta teachers. It comes after 51,000 educators walked off the job in Alberta's first province-wide teachers' strike. Jacqueline Wilson is covering this story for us. So, Jackie, how many people does this strike impact in Calgary?
Ian, so more than 12,000 teachers and over 213,000 students at Calgary's public, separate, and francophone schools, they were out of classes today because of this strike. Now, as for non-union members, so those are people like office administrators and educational assistants, they were still in the classrooms today. Now, the union tells me that it has still continuing exploratory talks with the province right now, but negotiations, official negotiations, those have not restarted. At issue are classroom conditions and the pay. The province's latest offer included a 12% wage increase over 4 years, funding for 3,000 new teachers and 1,500 educational assistants, but the union says they need at least 5,000 new teachers. Today, the Premier called on the union to end the strike and to return to the negotiating table. Now, while job action is taking place, teachers don't actually have to be on picket lines, but they are encouraged to attend rallies and demonstrations. And on Sunday, thousands turned out to a rally here at McDougall. Teachers are not getting paid during this strike, and so the question was asked today just how they'll be supported.
They knew when we had our vote on the strike vote and on the memorandum of agreement that they didn't have strike pay. We are paying their health benefits through the course of this, which is critically important to make sure that they're maintaining their health benefits as we go through. If government wants to starve teachers out, then I guess I would question the intent of what government is trying to do here. Do they actually really want to get a deal and get students back in classrooms, or are they just looking to bust a union?
So, Ian, we don't know how long this strike will last, but for a little bit of context, the last time that teachers were on strike was in 2002, and at that time, the province actually declared a public emergency, and they forced teachers back to work after about 3 weeks. Back to you.
Jackie, thanks very much. The strike is putting pressure on parents to figure out childcare. Places like Pinovate DIY Art Studio are hosting strike camps with half and full day childcare options available. The strike is forcing some parents to take time off work. Julie Harrison, a mother of 2 and a nurse, took today off while also stepping up to help 2 other families.
It's a burden in a sense that logistics are a little tough to navigate for family life, and I can just kind of relate to a lot of other families that are full-time workers, you know, mom and dad. So I appreciate that, you know, I can actually take some time and take other kids out.
The province is offering families $150 a week for each student 12 and under. The portal to apply for payments opens October 14th and can be found on alberta.ca. Police say a case involving a person found dead after a southeast mobile home fire is not criminal. Early Friday morning, a security guard noticed the mobile home on fire. When firefighters went inside, they found a person who had died. An autopsy was done, and police say because there's nothing criminal about the death, no details will be shared about the victim. We still don't know what sparked the fire or if it was arson. Calgary harm reduction workers say they've been cut off from the supplies they need to keep people safe, and they're warning the impact could be immediate. SafeWorks, Calgary's harm reduction program, has stopped providing free supplies like clean needles, pipes, and biohazard bins to its partner organizations. The change follows provincial health restructuring that moved SafeWorks under Recovery Alberta, with funding now flowing through Primary Care Alberta. Advocates say the loss of supplies will put people who use drugs at greater risk.
People are already dying. Like, we're doing what we can. We always say in Street Cats that we're just putting Band-Aids over bullet wounds. And so when we're out there desperately trying to do that and people are still dying, what's going to happen when there's not resources for people like us?
In a statement to CTV News, a provincial spokesperson says there are no plans to provide additional funding for the harm reduction supplies. Calgarians can now cast their ballot early. Advance voting kicked off today in the municipal election. Jordan Canigan is outside a polling station in the southeast. And Jordan, it's been steady there all day.
Ian, it has been, and we're still 2 weeks away from Election Day, but some Calgarians have already made up their mind, and they took advantage of the first day of advance voting. People we spoke to here at this polling station in Shaughnessy, for instance, they told me they waited for upwards of an hour to cast their ballot. There were long lineups. There are 42 advance vote stations across the city, several hospitals, shelters, care facilities, post-secondaries, rec centers, and community association buildings all set up to allow people to vote early this week. Most are open from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Officials are expecting tens of thousands of early votes this week, but they will not start counting ballots until October 20th after 7:30 p.m. Those we talked to say they know their top issues and they already made up their minds.
Rezoning, which was, in our opinion, against 70% or 60% of people who presented at the hearings were not in favor of that.
It's a municipal election, so the jury's kind of out. I feel like in my circles, there's more engagement than there usually is.
Now, if you want to vote early, eligible voters can cast a ballot at any of the advance vote locations. You can find a full list of those on the Elections Calgary website. Advance voting will continue until Saturday. Yeah.
Jordan, thanks very much. And I suppose if you want to cast your ballot early, you could walk to the polling station tonight and you wouldn't need an umbrella.
Yeah, I think the big story is that for the work week, we are looking at really nice, stable weather. And in fact, it will get quite toasty tomorrow because the winds are going to pick up and bring up our temperatures. It's the weekend that's looking unsettled. So I'm going to talk about the weekend a little later in the show. But for now, 13 degrees, that's our high so far today. We may tack on one more degree before it starts cooling for the evening. And 14 is what's normal for this time of year. Your 24-hour forecast is brought to you by 5th Avenue Volkswagen, where you can win your ride. See dealer for details or visit 5thavvw.com. And checking out this forecast, a lot of sunshine expected for tomorrow. The winds will pick up in the afternoon, up to 40 kilometers per hour, but it's those gusts out of the southwest that will knock our temperature in the afternoon into the 20s. Not bad for October. Your full forecast just ahead, Ian.
Thank you, Danielle. More and more often, mental health is getting the attention it deserves. Still ahead, the simple online test that helps diagnose depression. And one person in serious condition after being struck by a train. A person has been hit by a train in the southeast. It happened just before 8 this morning at the southeast intersection of 1st Street and 10th Avenue. The person was taken to hospital in serious condition. Police are still investigating and say traffic will be impacted because of the train removal process. At the Lions Park C train station, someone fell onto the tracks this morning. Police say he was taken to hospital in stable condition and may have been hit by a train. The line was shut down between Banff Trail and Sunnyside stations, and shuttle buses were brought in. Police are still trying to determine exactly what happened. Starting today, the red light and speed on green camera has resumed at the intersection of 16th Avenue and 10th Street Northwest. A fatal collision there in August is part of the reason why Calgary police asked for approval from the province to resume enforcement. 2 other high collision intersections in Calgary were also given the green light to resume automated enforcement. Last year, there were 29 fatal collisions on Calgary roads, a 10-year high, and so far this year, there have been 25 fatal collisions. All right, our weather as we get further into fall is a little up and down, a little inconsistent, but tomorrow's one of the up ones, right?
Yes, it's one of the up ones. In the 20s for us. I mean, early October, that's quite a nice temperature to enjoy. It's walkable, wonderful outdoor weather, really this entire work week in southern Alberta. Checking out your Skywatch weather camera, you can see a lot of blue sky out there. It's been a stunning day today. Today, temperatures have been where they should be for this time of year, within a degree or two. So Calgary, for example, a normal daytime high for this time of year is 14, and we got to 13 so far for today. A normal daytime high in Lethbridge is 16, and we got to 15 today. So these are right where we should be for now. And they're going to get much warmer than this for tomorrow. Tomorrow, many communities will be in the 20s. Today was a fairly quiet day. I'm going to step out of the way. Where you don't see any numbers, that's because there were no real wind gusts that registered at any of the measurement spots. Medicine had a gust at 30 kilometers per hour earlier today. Pincher Creek 43. So pretty tame day. We are going to increase in gusts. So Pincher Creek crosses past 50 kilometer per hour gusts, and everywhere else in southern Alberta is looking 40 kilometers per hour. But that's out of the right direction. That's going to knock up our temperatures into those 20s because it's out of the west and southwest. Pretty quiet out there right now. There was a little pocket of showers, but that has since fizzled out. Just some cloudy periods at times possible. Quiet winds for the rest of today. And then again for tomorrow, we're looking at mainly sunny skies with some cloudy periods. I want to play this through really till Wednesday, when a ridge of high pressure will start to slump to the south, but it will bounce back up. So basically for this week, we are looking in southern Alberta in general, we're looking at a lot of sunshine, occasional cloudy periods, winds picking up here and there, but fairly quiet for the entire work week. It's the weekend, though, that this entire weather pattern falters and changes. All right, so 21 degrees for tomorrow, thanks to the winds that will be gusting 40 kilometers per hour out of the southwest. Mainly sunny skies with a couple cloudy periods. Wednesday and Thursday will not be quite as warm. The temperatures will be much like they were today, so still quite nice. Bright. The winds should be calm at that point as well. Friday, later in the day, there may be some clouds increasing. We're looking at a warm front pushing through on Friday, so the first wave of a system. That's going to bump our temperature closer to that 20-degree mark. But then on the weekend, things all change. We have the cold front that will swipe through. That will drop our daytime high on Saturday till 12 degrees. Then overnight, you can see we dip below freezing. So the rain we get will start to switch over to wet snow. And that wet snow will carry into Sunday as well. Sunday, you're only looking at a daytime high of around 4 degrees.
Today is National Depression Screening Day, an initiative encouraging Albertans to check their mental health using a free online tool. Officials from the Calgary Counseling Centre hosted a kickoff event at the Central Library. An estimated 1 out of 5 Albertans will experience a mental health issue this year. Anyone looking for support can take a free, anonymous depression screening quiz at areyoufeelingok.com. In 3 minutes, people can be connected to a variety of mental health resources.
Unless you draw attention to it and highlight it and say, take some time to check in, either for yourself, your family members, your community, your friends, your colleagues. We get so busy that we just keep moving from thing to thing. So I think it's a really good reminder to take stock, slow down, and take some steps.
This is the 20th year for the initiative. Calgarians raised over $1 million for the CIBC Run for the Cure on Sunday.
3, 2, 1.
Over 5,000 people participated in the run at South Centre Mall. The money raised goes toward breast cancer treatment, research, and support programs. 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer. Medical advancements have reduced mortality rates by 47% since the late 1980s. John Candy would have turned 75 this month. Sadly, the comedian died more than 3 decades ago. Still ahead, Candy's biographer on why his story is so relevant now. Major deal in the artificial intelligence space today. Joining me is Robert Geary, investment advisor with the Popwich Carmeli Advisory Group. So first of all, Rob, how did the markets close out the day?
Yeah, it was a good one here to start the weekend, and we saw TSX close at an all-time high, pushed by materials, especially from the gold-producing stocks here today. On the U.S. side, we got some good commentary out of the tech side, and that pushed the NASDAQ and the S&P to all-time high closes as well.
Speaking of those tech stocks, there was a deal today involving a couple of players in AI.
Yeah, this is an interesting one because OpenAI has been of a huge growth expectation and goals here going forward, and they need the computing power to do so. And they've been looking to some of these stocks that have been, I would say, laggers, looking for partnerships, and they got one today with AMD. This is Advanced Micro Devices, and that pushed AMD's stock up 24% today. And this is a strategic partnership to be able to provide them those chips for the computing power that they need. And there's an interesting piece to this because AMD is offering OpenAI warrants at 1 penny to buy their stock at different hurdle rates, and they would be close to about 10% of the company. So this is a big partnership in the AI.
Of course, food and beverage prices have risen recently, and there is no exception at Tim Hortons.
Yeah, and don't be too alarmed with this one, because this is kind of a good news story that they're raising prices only by an average of 3% per cup of coffee. So this is not a huge number. It is a significantly less inflationary number than the rest of food, which is up about 7% in the same period. So their raise is only about 1.5%. And if you went to grocery stores and looked for your roasted beans in the grocery store, that was up 28% year over year, because the roasted beans are majorly get roasted in the U.S. and have been hit by tariffs.
All right. Thanks very much.
Appreciate it.
The town of Coaldale lockout may be ending soon. The AUPE submitted a counteroffer to the town on October 1st. Tonight, council will meet behind closed doors to discuss the proposal. Their decision will be made public tomorrow. Alberta's Premier meets with the Prime Minister. Here's Tara Nelson with a look ahead to CTV News at 6.
Hi, Ian. Danielle Smith is out east today promoting resource development, including an oil pipeline to the BC coast. Coming up, how Smith's pipeline pitch is being received, plus why BC's Premier calls Alberta's plan fiction. Also ahead, the latest on the Alberta teacher strike, including why the province decided to lock out teachers starting this Thursday. We'll see you at 6, Ian.
Thanks, Tara.
Now, Darren, you were telling us you're in machine parts. Is that correct?
That is correct, Alec. I sort ball bearings for a living. I have 2 pails at work. In one pail, I'll put good ball bearings, and in the other, I'll put the bad ones.
Sounds like a demanding job.
It is for me.
Now, Darren,
beginning with his days on SCTV, John Candy made us all laugh until he passed away in 1994 at the age of 43. And now Candy's story is told in John Candy, A Life in Comedy by Paul Myers. And joining me is Paul Myers. Great to see you.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's good to be on.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Now, there's not just your book about John Candy this fall, but there's also a new documentary about him as well. What was it about him that has made this still such a compelling subject?
Well, I think nobody really got over John Candy passing away in 1994, and I think it's been a long time. But now we look at, in this day and age, empathy, compassion, and just genuinely the ability to be an ambassador of goodwill that John Candy lived all through his career and in his work. I think he's just somebody who we want to hold up, and I think it's kind of a coincidence that the other films coming out at the same time, certainly in terms of release dates, but we're so excited that the German word Zeitgeist was built for this moment, which is everything converging at once. It's the 75th, would have been the 75th birthday of John Candy. So I think it's just the right time to do this, and I'm so thrilled that it's all coming together.
He was indeed a very nice guy. We'll get more into that in just a second here, but there are a number of revelations in your book, including the fact that John Candy could have been in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, there's a bunch of things like that that happened during the research process where I was like completely surprised by, so Quentin Tarantino had approached John Candy's production company and sent a script over of Pulp Fiction. I believe they wanted him for Mr. Wolf, which was later Harvey Keitel's character. And who could only imagine how that would have gone? And I think what I got from the people who work with John was that it wasn't kind of the family picture that he was looking for at the time.
And to see my extended interview with Paul Myers, visit ctvnews.ca/Calgary. One of Canada's most iconic rock bands is reuniting.
The biggest question is, the obvious question is, how do we replace someone who's irreplaceable?
Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson of Rush announced today they'll be heading out on a North American tour next year. German drummer Annika Niles will play drums, replacing the late Neil Peart, who passed away in 2020. The tour begins in Los Angeles in June. So far, the only Canadian dates on the tour are in Toronto on August 7th and 9th. As we move into October, our weather is becoming a lot more inconsistent. Right now in Calgary, mainly sunny and 13, but a bit warmer tomorrow. Danielle has details coming up. Okay, 21 degrees tomorrow. That is pretty good for October.
Yeah, and enjoy it because next week, much cooler. Thanksgiving weekend, oh, you know, hopefully you love who you're spending time with for Thanksgiving weekend because you'll mainly be indoors because it'll be a lot chillier and maybe even some wet snow mixed in with that. 13 is the temperature right now, also the daytime high, and 14 was what's normal. So we're right where we should be. 21 degrees is our high for tomorrow thanks to the winds gusting 40 kilometers per hour in the afternoon. That's what will knock us into the 20s. Cooler a little bit, much like today, for example, for Wednesday and Thursday with temperatures around 12 and 13 degrees, but lots of sunshine. And just a quick look at your Thanksgiving weekend. Only a high of 4 for Sunday. So Saturday night and through Sunday, a good chance of rain mixed in with that wet snow. Oh, so that's a cool one. I guess it rebounds a little bit on Monday, Thanksgiving Monday, but by then just 6 degrees, mainly cloudy as well. Ian.
Thank you, Danielle. The Calgary Stampede has unveiled their poster for next year's event. Dana Leps, When the Grass Dances, has been chosen as the official poster. The 22-year-old's painting honors the vibrancy of powwow traditions and intergenerational connections that continue to link communities to the Stampede. Dana says she first got the idea when she attended the opening ceremony of the Stampede 3 years ago.
First day is when I experienced the powwow and everything. So I was not only very personally touched, but it just seems like such a big part, and I also see how people love it.
And the Calgary Stampede goes from July 3rd to the 12th next year. Thanks for joining us. Now here's the early edition of the CTV National News.